Here they come. They're away in trotting. Going off stride before the start was Bewitcher. Here's Quick Tan in the middle of the track. Showing early speed. Quick Tan right to the top for Walter Haynes Jr. Lucky Spin trotting in second. On the outside, moving up, Super Status. Hot Dog Rocky came away along the inside. Prairieland Raider on the outside, parked in fourth. To the inside of him, Corky's Bojangles. Then comes Hawthorne Map, Logan Motion, and Justice Source. Far back after the miscue, Bewitcher. It's a battle up top off that quarter, 30-2. They race up the backstretch, and from the outside, Super Status now takes command. It's Super Status a length. Quick Tan in second. On the outside, Prairieland Raider parked in third. Lucky Spin racing in fourth. On the inside, Hot Dog Rocky. Logan Motion in the outer flow, followed up by Justice Source. Your two trailers, Corky's Bojangles and Hawthorne Map. Quick Tan retakes command. Pressure from Prairieland Raider off the half, 101-2. Prairieland Raider on the outside, now forging his way on by. Quick Tan is back to second. Logan Motion on the attack for Knox. Super Status racing along the inside fourth. On the outside, the long shot, Justice Source, moves within striking range for Simmons. A Lucky Spin. Hawthorne Map still about 7 to make up. Hot Dog Rocky and Corky's Bojangles at the end. They're in the stretch. Prairieland Raider leads the way 3 parts of a length. Logan Motion racing in second, rallying up from far back. Here comes Hawthorne Map and Corky's Bojangles. 3/4, 132-1. Prairieland Raider 3 parts of a length. Logan Motion bearing down. In between horses, Quick Tan's coming on again. Corky's Bojangles on the far outside. Quick Tan splits horses. Here's Corky's Bojangles. Corky's Bojangles and Quick Tan. Quick Tan on the inside. Corky's Bojangles on the outside. Too close to call in the opener here at Sportsman's The Mile, 202-3. Fields in the stretch, picking up speed. Here they come. They're often pacing with Hector Jester out in the middle of the track, going after the lead. On the inside, Duggan Dalray, and on the outside, Mighty O'Callib moves up for position. They race under the wire for the first time. It's Hector Jester, and now on the outside, Mighty O'Callib. Quickly up to challenge and take the lead. Hector Jester will yield second. A length and a half back to Duggan Dalray, racing in third. In fourth around the turn comes Shamrock Silky, followed up by Smiley McGurk. Then a gap of 2 to Skycam. 2 trailers, System Error and Incredible Storm off the quarter, 29-1. Mighty O'Callib on top. In command of the pace, settling things down. Leads the way a length. Hector Jester right there in the pocket. Duggan Dalray with those two racing third. Then a gap of 2 to Shamrock Silky racing in fourth. Smiley McGurk in fifth. On the outside, moving up, looking for cover, System Error, Skycam, and Incredible Storm. Race by the half. Mighty O'Callib now on the outside. Duggan Dalray quickly up to challenge. Half-timed in 59-1. Duggan Dalray from Morgan clears to lead around the far turn. Mighty O'Callib is back to second. The favorites racing 1-2. On the outside, System Error making his way forward. Hector Jester now slides off the rail for Jacobs. Also coming on is Shamrock Silky racing wide. Smiley McGurk, they're in the stretch. Duggan Dalray out there by 3. System Error picks up the chase. Mighty O'Callib is dropping back sharply. 3/4, 129-2. Duggan Dalray digging down, 3/16 to go. It's Duggan Dalray, your leader. System Error, the 2-year-old. On the chase in second, Mighty O'Callib's finding a little bit more and coming back for third. Hector Jester drops back, a 1/16 of a mile to go, and in the final yards, it's all Duggan Dalray and Tony Morgan. Duggan Dalray out in front in 1:59, System Error second, Mighty O'Callib third. Top of the stretch. Field of 10 lining up as they approach the start for tonight's third race. Here they come. They're often pacing a good start with 3 horses going after the lead. Heroic, one of them on the outside. Broadway Country coming away well. Incorrigible One. Broadway Country to the top of length. Heroic racing in second, a length and a half back to Incorrigible One. Racing in third, Zapparino is away in fourth. On the outside, Silky Charmer looking to drop in along the rail. Coming away in sixth, Movin' Man. Then comes Katie's Rio Tannic, Incredible J, Heatermiler, and your trailer, Incredibux. Off the quarter, 29-3. They race up the backstretch. Broadway Country in command by 2 Heroic. Racing in second on the outside. Here comes Zapparino. Morgan going after the lead. Incorrigible One racing in fourth. Silky Charmer racing fifth. Katie's Rio Tannic is on the move. Movin' Man along the inside will take an inside route. On the outside, Incredible J, Heatermiler, and Incredibux. Zapparino has made the top, leads by 2. Half-timed in 59-3, 32nd quarter. The favorite, Zapparino, leads the way around the far turn. Broadway Country right in behind second. On the outside, Silky Charmer facing the breeze in third. Following up that cover, Katie's Rio Tannic. On the inside, Heroic is there. Incorrigible One looks to shake loose. Incredible J, Heatermiler. Movin' Man is pushed back to second to last. Incredibux still trails. They're in the stretch. They're all in behind Zapparino. 3/4, 130 even. Zapparino kicks in, opens up the lead by 4. On the outside, Silky Charmer racing in second. Katie's Rio Tannic in third. Broadway Country racing in fourth. Heroic looks to split horses. Has nowhere to go. Zapparino in a runaway here. Zapparino striding out. Destroys this field. It's all Zapparino. Here's the time. 1:58 flat. Heroic up quickly for second over Silky Charmer. Top of the stretch. Lining up. Here they come. They're often trotting in the American National. Off stride, Fox Valley Heroine. Vernon Blue Chip going right to the lead for LeChance. Vernon Blue Chip by 2, Arcata Hanover. Racing in second. In third on the inside, Annie's Rosie Dozen. Ragin' Samantha fourth, back on her gate, Fox Valley Heroine. She's about 12 off the top as they race around the first turn. Vernon Blue Chip in command by 2, Arcata Hanover. Trotting in second, then a 3-length gap to Annie's Rosie Dozen. Another gap of 2 to Raging Samantha. Fox Valley Heroine trails off the quarter, 29-4. They race up the backstretch. Vernon Blue Chip leads the way by 4. Trotting effortlessly for LeChance. Arcata Hanover racing in second, a gap of 3.5 to Annie's Rosie Dozen. Another 2-length break to Raging Samantha. Fox Valley Heroine still far back as they approach the half. Vernon Blue Chip, she leads the way and now goes by the half in 59-4. Vernon Blue Chip, still no pressure. She leads by 2.5. Arcata Hanover has been right in behind the entire mile. On the outside, Raging Samantha takes over third. On the inside, Annie's Rosie Dozen now off stride. Raging Samantha. Top of the stretch. It's been all Vernon Blue Chip. She leads the way by 4. Arcata Hanover, the only one with a shot to upset her. 3/4, 131 even. Vernon Blue Chip steps out to a 4-length lead. Arcata Hanover racing in second, far back. Annie's Rosie Dozen, Raging Samantha, and Fox Valley Heroine. Here she is, Vernon Blue Chip. Out for a training mile in the American National. 1/16 of a mile ago. Vernon Blue Chip is untouchable here. It's all Vernon Blue Chip. She wins the American National in 2:02 and 3. Arcata Hanover second. Close for third between Raging Samantha and Fox Valley Heroine. Top of the stretch. Fields lining up as they pick up speed and approach the start. Here they come. They're off. Even start. 3 or 4 horses going after the lead on the outside. West Broadway is there. In between horses, Sandtowner. And now West Broadway wins the early battle. Opens up by 2 into the first turn. Sandtowner away in second. A length and a half ahead of Fox Valley Rattler racing in third. Fax Dash in fourth around the turn. Then a length and a half back to Sean's Closing. Another length to Mr. Benny's. 3 back to Working in a Coal Mine. Then comes the filly Robbie's Demitoss. And Tell It to the Judge. Off the quarter, 28 and 2. West Broadway on top by 2. Here comes pressure from Fax Dash. He's on the move and quickly up to challenge. Sandtowner racing in third. 3.5 back to Fox Valley Rattler in fourth. A length and a half back to Sean's Closing. Mr. Benny's 2 back to Working in a Coal Mine. Robbie's Demitoss and Tell It to the Judge. Fax Dash has worked his way to the front. Off the half in 58 and 2. Fax Dash leads the way. West Broadway right in behind second. On the inside, it's Sandtowner. On the outside, here comes Fox Valley Rattler. Right in behind him, Mr. Benny's and Tom Insko. Third over to the top of the stretch. Working in a Coal Mine. Sean's Closing. Being pushed back. Robbie's Demitoss. And Tell It to the Judge. They're in the stretch. Fax Dash on the inside, but now Fox Valley Rattler paces right on by. 3/4, 129 and 3. It's Fox Valley Rattler. Here comes Working in a Coal Mine and Walter Haynes Jr. They have dead aim with an eighth of a mile to go. Working in a Coal Mine on the inside. Fox Valley Rattler. Robbie's Demitoss picks up the leaders. Here comes West Broadway in between horses. Working in a Coal Mine. Robbie's Demitoss. One final lunge. Working in a Coal Mine out in front. Robbie's Demitoss close for third at 159 and 1. Near top of the stretch. Fields lining up, and here they come. They're often trotting in the American National Stake. On the inside, Carl's Rue. Came away well for LeChance. On the outside, Lots of Credit. Moves up for Dave McGee. Can't Cope. Right in behind those two. Here's Lots of Credit. Lots of Credit, 3 parts of a length. On the inside, Carl's Rue. Trotting in second, a gap of 3 to the Illinois bred. Can't Cope. Racing in third. In fourth, around the turn, Cosmos Kramer. And then a gap of 2.5 to Victory's Force. Your trailer early on is Sierra Crown. They trot past the quarter in 30 and 1. Off the turn and up the backstretch. Lots of Credit leads the way, opening up by 4. Carl's Rule racing in second. Can't Cope in third, a gap of 2.5 to Cosmos Kramer. On the outside, Victory's Force moves up. Sierra Crown also on the move. Race for the half. Lots of Credit in command, leads the way by 4. Carl's Rue unhurried in second. Off stride in the back of the pack, Cosmos Kramer. Can't Cope now picks up the leaders. It went by the half in 101 straight. Lots of Credit leads the way around the far turn. Can't Cope inching his way forward. Carl's Rue along the inside for LeChance. On the outside, Victory's Force now picks up the leaders. Only about 5 off the top as they turn for home. Then a gap of 4 to Sierra Crown. And far back, Cosmos Kramer's. They're in the stretch. Lots of Credit leads the way by 2.5. Karlsruhe racing in second. Cancope made a break. 3/4, 132. It's Lots of Credit with 3/16 to trot. Out there by 4. Karlsruhe second. On the outside, here comes Victories for Sierra Crown in between horses. A 16th of a mile to go. Lots of Credit in total control. Lots of Credit in front and drawing away to win the American National in 2 minutes 4/5. Victories for second. Sierra Crown finishing third. Field of fillies and mares in the stretch, taking their positions in behind the starting gate. Here they come. They're often pacing out quickly from behind the gate. Missy Jules for Dean McGee. Missy Jules on a short lead. Here's Bristol Lake Misty. Bristol Lake Misty up to challenge and now take the lead as they hit the first turn. Missy Jules will yield in second, a length and a half back to Miss Perfect S. Racing in third, Love Lady in fourth. In fifth around the turn, Armbro Oath. Followed up by Crazy Reaction, the 2-year-old. Comes Power Packet and JV's Principessa. Opening quarter, 29 seconds off the turn. And up the backstretch, Bristol Lake Misty on top. Out of the pocket, here comes Missy Jules and Dean McGee also on the move. Miss Perfect S. Miss Perfect S going after the lead. A race out of the 3/8. Miss Perfect S working hard and now does clear. A length ahead of Missy Jules. Bristol Lake Misty racing in third. A gap of 2. On the inside, Love Lady on the outside. Armbro Oath. Those two strides apart. Crazy Reaction is on the move. JV's Principessa and Power Packet half in 58-3. 29-3, second quarter. Miss Perfect S leads the way around the far turn. On the inside, Missy Jules right there in the pocket. Armbro Oath grinding out a tough first over trip. Bristol Lake Misty on the inside looks to shake loose. Here comes Crazy Reaction. And Morgan, she's got about 5 to make up with a quarter of a mile to go. Miss Perfect S leads the way. 3/4, 130-2. It's Miss Perfect S. Here comes Crazy Reaction. Missy Jules driving from the pocket. 3/16 out. Miss Perfect S under a drive. And now Crazy Reaction has her collared. And now she draws off. Crazy Reaction. Miss Perfect S looking for something more. A 16th of a mile. It's Crazy Reaction. Crazy Reaction in deep stretch. In total command, JV's Principessa. A fast closing second. Miss Perfect S third in 1:59-3. Fields off the turn. Field of 10 lining up there in the stretch. Here they come. They're often pacing. Be Reasonable, winging it on the far outside. On the inside, LK Line left hard. Also coming away well, IRA Deadline. LK Line and Be Reasonable even up as they hit the first turn. IRA Deadline right in behind that battling pair. A length back to Home Alone racing in fourth. In fifth around the turn, Art. A length back to Falcon Royal. Then comes Tough Eyes. A break of 3 to Whiskey Pick, Champolion, and Luciano. Off the quarter, a quick 28-4. 75-1 long shot. Be Reasonable in command of the pace. Leads the way up the backstretch. A length and a quarter. LK Line racing in second. Here comes Art and Morgan after the lead. Be Reasonable on the inside. Also coming on, Home Alone. Now Art, hard pressed to clear. Leads the way a length. Pressure from Home Alone. Be Reasonable right there in the pocket. On the outside, Tough Eyes. On the inside, LK Line. Off the half, 59 seconds. From the outside, Home Alone attacks for Dean McGee. Now takes command. Draws off by 2, Art. Racing in second, 3 lengths back to Be Reasonable. On the outside, Tough Eyes facing the breeze. First up, right in behind him, Champolion. LK Line saves ground. IRA Deadline, Whiskey Pick. Falcon Royal, and Luciano. They're in the stretch, go alone, showing the way by 3/4, 128 even. Going alone. Shortening stride on the outside. Here's Art again. Art quickly up to take command and draw off. Tough Eyes picks up the chase. Champolian into the action third. Art digs down on the outside. Moving up, here comes Tough Eyes and Dave Maxwell. Art leads. Tough Eyes is wearing him down. Tough Eyes getting up in the final strides. Art second, Champolian third. Fields in the stretch, lining up. Here they come. They're off and pacing with Closed Case showing the way. Henry's Pal, also left hard on the inside, on the outside. Here's Can Breeze. Can Breeze, 3 off the rail. Now takes command. Closed Case, racing in second, length back to Henry's Pal. In third on the outside. Broadway Concept looks to drop in, and now he does. A length ahead of Mr. Sweetness. Racing in fifth. King's Cub in sixth. In seventh, around the turn, Silky Intrusion. Your two trailers, Mr. Checker and Heart Sleeper. Off that quarter, 28-3. Race up the backstretch. Can Breeze leads the way on the outside. Here comes Broadway Concept with an early move. He's after the lead. Right in behind that pair, Closed Case racing third. Henry's Pal in fourth, a length back to Mr. Sweetness. Racing in fifth, King's Cub. In sixth, Silky Intrusion. Still unhurried, reserved in seventh. On the outside, Heart Sleeper. And your trailer is Mr. Checker. By the half, 58-4. Broadway Concept leads around the far turn, a tight length over Can Breeze. On the outside, here comes Henry's Pal. On the inside, Closed Case saves ground. Mr. Sweetness is on the move, well placed for Reggie Mary. A length and a half back to King's Cub, has to do more. On the inside, Silky Intrusion looks to shake loose, still about 8 lengths off the lead. They're in the stretch. Broadway Concept out there by 2.5, 3/4, 128-4. Broadway Concept, the one to catch with 3/16 of a mile to go. Broadway Concept now under pressure. Here comes Can Breeze from the pocket. Closed Case racing in third. Silky Intrusion still about 6 to make up. He's not going to get there. Here's Can Breeze on the outside. Broadway Concept still there, digging down for Morgan. Can Breeze wearing him down, winning it by the narrowest of margins. Broadway Concept a game second, Closed Case third at 158. Top of the stretch. Lining up as they approach the start for tonight's 10th race. Picking up speed. Here they come. They're away and pacing. Temo John in the middle of the track. Going after the lead. Menard Time on the inside, on the outside. Chief Powhatan. It's Temo John and Chief Powhatan vying for the lead. Menard Time a length and a half back off that pair. Then 2 back to Jates Lobel racing in fourth. In fifth around the turn, Gifted Lobel. Gap of 3 to Ebo Walker. Then comes Fated Glory. Your trailer, Easy Hanover. 28-2. Opening quarter, and from the outside, Chief Powhatan takes the lead. Temo John is out of the pocket, going right after the top again for Morgan. Temo John retakes. Chief Powhatan will yield second, a length and a half back to Menard Time. Jates Flyer racing in fourth. Gifted Lobel off the cones for Robbins. Followed up closely by Ebo Walker. On the inside, Fated Glory. Easy Hanover by the half, 56-4. Another 28-2 quarter. Temo John out there by 3. Chief Powhatan racing in second on the outside. Here comes Gifted Lobel. Menard Time is pushed back on the inside. Ebo Walker moves into striking range. Jates Flyer is pushed back. Easy Hanover. They're in the stretch. Your leader by 3/4. Timo John by 2. 3/4, 126 even. On the outside, here comes Gifted Lobel. He's quickly up to challenge Timo John, and now he's collared him. Gifted Lobel on the outside. Timo John is giving way on the inside. Chief Powhatan. Menard Time shakes loose. Far outside, here comes Faded Glory in deep stretch. It's all Gifted Lobel. Gifted Lobel out in front. Easy Hanover, a fast closing second over Faded Glory in 155 flat. Race top down, 4-8-1, 5-7-3, 6 scratch. Fields off the turn. Now they're all in line. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Fabulous Finale, the first to show speed on the inside. Now Chris Van Winkle moves through. Far outside, Burn That Bridge, and Keno will now go at it. Burn That Bridge. Keno even up into the first turn. These two strides apart. And now Burn That Bridge wins the early battle. Keno will drop in behind second, a length ahead of Chris Van Winkle racing third. In fourth to the quarter, Fabulous Finale. Off the quarter, a quick 28-3. Burn That Bridge on top by 2 as they race up the backstretch. Keno racing in second, a length and a half back to Chris Van Winkle in third. A length back to Fabulous Finale, racing in fourth and a gap of 4 to Graziano. Rough Road is on the move. Off the cones for Art Gregory Jr. comes Foolish Courage and Sprite Warrior. Burn That Bridge on top, a tight length. Keno right there in the pocket. Off the half, 59 seconds. Little bit of a breather for Burn That Bridge. He's out there a length. Keno racing in second on the outside. Moving up is Fabulous Finale. Rough Road, second over with cover. On the inside, it's Chris Van Winkle. On the outside, moving up, Foolish Courage. Graziano is pushed back. Sprite Warrior, 4 in, 4 out. They're in the stretch. Burn That Bridge in the green shadow roll. Leads on the outside by 3/4, 129-2. Burn That Bridge leads the way on the outside. Here comes Rough Road. Rough Road picks up Burn That Bridge, and now with an eighth of a mile to go, Rough Road draws clear. On the inside, Burn That Bridge battling to keep pace. Rough Road in deep stretch has this one in hand. Burn That Bridge second, Keno third in 157-3. Field of 10, all in behind the starting gate as they enter the stretch for this evening's 12th race, picking up speed. Here they come. They're off and pacing with Annie Rapp. Showing early speed, Lake Hills Carl. Now going after the lead. Coming away well. Right Note as he looks for position. And now drops in behind Annie Rapp. Lake Hills Carl on top a length. Annie Rapp racing in second. Right Note in third. A length back to Diddley. Racing in fourth. And comes Ideal Design. 2 back to TJ's Wolf. A length back to Anxious Roscoe and Dale Heitman. Then comes Schoolboy. Your 2 trailers, Lucky Chris and Mannheim Trolley. Off the quarter, 29-3. Race up the backstretch, the favorite, Lake Hills Carl, in command of the pace, leads a tight length over Annie Rapp. Right Note racing in third. Diddley is underway for Joe Marsh Jr. He's on the attack. Ideal Design saves ground on the outside. TJ's Wolf moves up, and now joining the second tier is Anxious Roscoe. Schoolboy right in behind him. Lucky Chris and Mannheim Trolley, still a good 8 to make up. Go by the half, a minute and a fifth. Lake Hills Caro, 3 parts of a length. Pressure from Diddley. Annie Rapp getting the good trip. On the outside, TJ's Wolf now looming large for Morgan. Second over with cover. On the inside, Right Note looks to shake loose. Also moving up, Anxious Roscoe. Ideal Design, Schoolboy. Now coming on, Mannheim Trolley, Lucky Chris. The trailer, they're in the stretch. Lake Hills Caro leads the way. 3/4, 130 even. It's Lake Hills Caro. Drawing off by 2, he's now put away Diddley. Diddley dropping back. On the outside, it's TJ's Wolf picking up the leader. Coming on, Anxious Roscoe. Mannheim Trolley, still a lot to make up. Lake Hills Caro leads the way in deep stretch. Lake Hills Caro going all the way. Wins it easily at 158-1. TJ's Wolf second, close for third and fourth between Anxious Roscoe and Diddley.